YouTube, what's going on? It's been a hot minute since our last review, and today's is extra special. I know they say that every time, but I'm joined by Mr. eXJello, and I may include a clip here of him beating some of the best players in the game with a not so typical playstyle that you usually see. Maybe called a little casino. But Jello, how you doing? You want to introduce yourself to the people real fast?
Yeah. I am Jello. I am a Banshee 13 main. I do farm other hunts every now and then, but B13 is usually what I do, and just try to gear score Kingdom from there.
So we're gonna, Jello, what can we expect? We see a lot of counter gear, lifesteal gear, and just very nicely geared units. Not trying to overhype, but I have heard you have one of the better, if not best, maybe Banshee accounts around. So let's go and let's go down the list.
Yeah, let's go down the list.
And then just give your input as you want. All right. So let's start with Kise. Usually at the top of most lists, right, boys? From the reviews, because she's just... Everyone needs one, and she's a thief. You build her with all speed damage. So let's take a quick look. Double S imprint. Jello, we're missing... we're actually a little light on crit. What is this? Is this mostly just for Hwayoung?
This is mostly just for PvE, actually.
Oh, really? Okay.
I don't really draft this.
Gotcha. So okay.
This is a... What's it called? Expo slave, I guess?
Expos. Got it. All right.
Yeah,
I think it could pass with a Windrider, though. Max down. All right. Next down. So we're just gonna, Jill, we're gonna go through these, and these are probably not ones you use too often, if I had to guess, yeah?
Yeah.
For PvP. So Pavel, this is also, I'm assuming, some Banshee
Also
mid?
PvE's Banshee one-shot is just two-man Strays Pavel. That's it.
Oh, Strays Pavel, guys, is his team, which, by the way, if you didn't know, is very, very gear-intensive. But it is the least RNG-reliant Banshee one-shot out there. Is that correct, Jello? Because I think...
Yep.
No debuffs needed?
This one's still a little RNG-reliant because
you need the Song of Stars?
Song of Stars is
Got it.
plus 27. So.
Okay. Celine. Do we draft her at all, Jello, in RTA?
Every now and then, when the opportunity arises.
Okay.
I feel like she's good.
So we'll look at the gear here in a second. So you opted for the highest attack EE? And...
I switch them out. I have both.
Okay.
For those, just depending on what I think I'm gonna run into that day, or depending on the time I play. It really depends. Like usually during the daytime, I will switch over to highest attack. During nighttime, I switch over to stealth.
Interesting. Is that like
play styles for different regions?
Oh, boys! This is the first review I think we've done where he's catering to the time zones, depending when he fights. That's how you know you're a real RTA. You grind the RTA because you're going through different time zones and catering to that. I like that. Okay. When do you bust her out though, Jello? What are you looking for when you use her?
2 or 3 non-attack skills, especially if they draft like double soul weavers or like two knights or something like that.
Okay.
Where they can't kill her so easily.
So either lack of damage or 2 to 3 minimum non-attack skills, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Got it. Okay. Next up, top model Luluka. She's kind of been down bad, Jello. What do you think about TML?
Don't use her very often. I didn't draft her at all last season. She just kind of
maybe like Guild Wars, random stuff.
Yep.
Okay.
Pretty much just Guild War, if anything.
We'll go through fast, guys. I don't know. Does she need a little bit of a little Jello? Do you think she needs a buff?
I think if she gets a buff, she'll be overtuned.
Yeah, that's a lot of the units that are left, right, boys? If they get a buff, they'll be a little bit too strong. But the problem is, like every review I've done, including Jello, the players, they have them geared, but they're not really used as often, which is okay. Not every unit needs to be meta, but I do notice that. All right, Jello, here's a fan favorite. Oh my god, look at that perfect crit damage. 350. Jello, tell me, as one of the counter mains, we use her a lot.
I use her a fair bit. She's a lot of fun, and I also use her for expos, but she usually like wipes the floor with Landies and Stennies when I let the Stenny through. So
Landy Stennies is what you're looking for. And is this the build you like? Destruction immunity and the stat line? Yep. Interesting, boys. Okay, that's a lot of damage, man.
Yeah, you just one-shot them with a Magic for Friends proc, and from there it's over.
Got it. Okay. So still pretty relevant. Not like... How often would you say? Just when it's mostly Landy Stennies?
I would say like 1 out of like 30, 40 games.
Oh, okay. I mean, it's still usable, but that might depend on what his opponent's drafting. Okay. Speaking of Specter Tenebria, here we go up next. Triple S. On. What is this artifact? Wait, Jello, is this for... Whoa. This is for RTA, correct?
Well, this is usually my pre-ban.
Yeah.
But depending on... Yeah, I pre-ban Steady and Hwayoung usually.
So lifesteal. Defense a little bit light from what I would expect from you, but very, very offensive on lifesteal. And then, of course, with this Tenebria artifact, the dual attacks are pretty insane. Also, the effectiveness is kind of nice, too. Although, wait. No, excuse me. That part's not that important, right, Jello? Because it's on not her turn.
Yeah, it's only when...
so it'd only be for, like, poisons. Yep. But yeah, talk to us about this Stenny. So this is normally your pre-ban?
Yeah, this is usually my pre-ban. But when I decide to, you know, let her through, sometimes I will take her. And she just does very, very well. Yeah. Is the how much do you actually like the pen set? I think if you obviously can get it, right, your S3, make that stronger is really nice. But is this the build you like? Yeah. Every now and then, like, they'll bring her down to like 10-15% HP, and then a single S3 just raises, you know, gets her back to full. Man, and then last thing, talk to me about the artifact. This, instead of book, instead of like even something like, I don't know, more survivability, proof or chatty, for example, this is what you opted for, the increased dual attack chance? Yeah, so I used to run a like 299 flurry back in season, what is it, 3? Yeah. So she was a dual attack monster, right? Because she just spams S1s. Just spams S1s and just get a bunch of dual attacks out of it. So that was mostly for that, and you just kind of kept it on. Okay, so don't pick her too often because she's normally a pre-ban, but I like the build. It's interesting. All right. Remnant Violet. Rylet. Jello. Very offensive build, right under 200 speed. A little bit of bulk. Talk to us about the Rylet. He doesn't dodge. So not a favorite for you. No, I still pick him anyway. But really? So you're okay with that, guys? I always say this to them, Jello. Players that want to use Rylet, you got to have your mental on point, because like Jello said, he just dies sometimes, and he still picks him. Sometimes he just dies. But Jello, I've actually been thinking, and I've been hearing a little bit. Do you think he's how do you feel like he is in the meta right now? I think he's in a fairly good spot. I think so too. It has been like maybe in the past month and a half, kind of fell off a little bit, like not fell off, but we haven't seen him. But I think right now with things shifting, it's looking kind of nice. So you pick him fairly often? Yeah, fairly often. Do you, especially when they go very defensive, and then there's an opportunity just to bring him out and start, you know, chunking down tanks and like maids and Ruels and stuff like that. Yeah. So speaking of him dying, do you try to pick like a reviver with him, like Ruel? Or not necessarily? Usually I'll have something like a Ravi with him. A Ravi? Okay. So some kind of reviver guy, so if you get unlucky, you can potentially bring him back. Got it. Alright, Spirit Eye Celine, Jello. So lifesteal build, of course, the Banshee main. The speed actually pretty nice for lifesteal build, and all the stats are on point. That being said, though, how often do you pick her? I think she's kind of hard to run at the moment. There's a... I want to say like maybe 1 out of 20 games. Oh, actually, that's not bad, yeah. When she does come out, she's usually a force ban because they'll just straight up lose to her if they don't. Okay. But the biggest drawback of this unit is that she just dies to innate game mechanics. So just a random dual attack or something like that will just kill her. True. So Jello, 1 out of 20 games, what kind of draft? You don't have to be like exact, but just what are you looking out for when we want to bust her out? Lots of single targets, and pretty much you need to have some kind of like barrier protection with her. Right. Otherwise she's just gonna die instantly. Yeah, either damage share or barriers. Okay. So he's still, guys, 1 out of 20 is not bad. The Mare was like 1 out of 40, so lifesteal gamers, Banshee gamers, Jello still likes her a lot. Karen, I'm assuming Wyvern, correct? And we have a oh. This is for Expo. Expos. The Karens for Expo. But PvE, right? PvE stuff. Got it. Yeah, mostly PvE. The summertime Iseria though, Jello, you have one built. What is this abomination? It's one of my favorite builds actually on this account. I like by abomination, boys. I don't mean I didn't even look at the stats yet, but as a RNG Banshee player, usually you're not the one using this. Look at this, boys. Counter Iseria plus 30 artifact, triple S. Look at that bulk, Jello. Please, this one especially. Talk to us.
One of your favorites, you said.
So, people end up like focusing her like a lot.
Yeah, if you see her, you try to kill her.
Yeah, she just starts punishing people, and she doesn't die.
Oh my
like,
god!
I've had people run their acids into her, and she's like, "Okay, well, I'm just gonna strip your evasion back."
Yeah.
And then, so you don't get the bombs on the counters, but you still get the strips, which become very, very useful.
Interesting. Okay, so the bombs, we still want this though for when it's our turn for offensive purposes, but on the counters we're just stripping, and it's also bait because you said everyone, guys, if you see Sarah, you try to focus it, right? You can't leave her up. Usually they're squishy. Jello, when you draft her though, are you stealing it from your opponent like when they're cleaving, or is it just kind of its own thing?
Sometimes just to steal it. Sometimes it's I actually use it like as a control unit.
Interesting. And Jello, so YouTube, I think a lot of y'all have now heard the term MLM. I know Jello has. Jello, you think this is a fun build, or do you think this is actually legit?
I've used it legitimately.
Yeah.
So I can't say it's an MLM, but it is an MLM.
Yeah. So here's what I think, guys. I think you're gonna see potentially more stuff like this on Jello's account, and he will win with them. But it still might be like you won't get the same results like in maybe Codex review you saw. So for some of y'all, it might be multi-level marketing MLM scam. But for Jello, he says it's the real deal for him. I love it, man. I love this the ingenuity. I kind of want to try this out, boys, but I don't think I can make anything nearly as good. Okay. Anything else you want to mention on that, Jello, or are you ready to move on?
No, I mean, there's a couple people that, have played against it, and they'll say that it's just very hard to kill. So.
Yeah, dude, no kidding. All right. Let's go on to the next one. Kawerik counter, of course. Holy stats!
Yep.
Meep was actually the one that asked me to bring you on. I think he's going to love this. Jello, this is actually disgusting. Okay, so we dropped some speed, right? The speed is a little bit lower than I think a lot of people prefer. But for you, Jello, that wall, that's 29,000 health. Talk to us about the build. This is what you've been liking so far?
That absolutely. So my main, I guess, goal with this was to speed tune him to my team.
Okay.
Like, having him so fast is pointless, even if he's, like, really fast, because I have no follow-up right afterwards.
True.
So I just tuned him to whatever my team is. Usually my teams run around 180 to 190 speed. Sometimes he'll cut with a Warhorn, or he'll cut with a counterattack and push someone up along with him. And then that just changes the tempo of the game.
My god, man, this is beautiful. Guys, as a tanky player, this is actually beautiful, clean. It's interesting you say this is you tuned him to be the fastest, so the rest of your generally speaking, right, your normal drafts, they're all, you said, around 190, 180, huh?
Yeah, 180, 190 speed. There's a couple like 170s in there, but
boys, that is definitely kind of slow, and I love it. All right, anything else on this guy?
No, he's one of the best units in the game right now. So
chat and YouTube, make sure y'all start tracking. Which one do you think? Two questions. Which one do y'all think is Jello's best geared, and which build is your favorite so far? I think a lot of people are gonna say the Iseria one, but Jello, I think you can spoil us now. Who do you think on your count's the best geared?
Best geared? Ravi.
Ravi. All right, boys, stay tuned for the Ravi. I think I saw this one earlier when Jello was hanging out. So like maybe last week, but we'll see it soon. All right, Jello, Arya, you and I talked about this one a little bit. It seems like you're still on that build that I actually featured in my YouTube video. It looks pretty similar. Any other thoughts that have developed for her, or is it about the same as before?
No, it's about the same. Sometimes she, she does her job. Other times she just doesn't. It just really depends on crown procs for me, I guess.
Crown procs, got it. Okay. So how often would you say you bust her out?
I think I've only played her like 3 or 4 times.
Damn, okay.
And then she's the majority of losses on my account right
now. If we have time, we'll check his RTA rating or draft and rating after this weekend. I don't know if I showed the gear here. I was too mesmerized. So I'm gonna go through this real fast, Jello, just showing everybody the actual subs. But yeah, okay. We'll skip through Arya. Let's see the Luna. All right, Jello, you're gonna have to talk about this one, especially here in this community. The Luna, how often do you actually pick her?
Never. She's just geared just because she's waifu.
Jello, please tell the people out there, especially my guys, right? I'm sure. Do you wait? Actually, Jill, we didn't ask you. What's your favorite looks-wise aesthetic waifu, or husbando? Solitaria.
Yeah.
How do you feel about Luna? Do you like her looks?
Yeah.
Okay. Like so Jello, if you like the looks, you keep her geared, but it's copium, right? To actually use her right now, it's just not really. She's maybe can be all right, but especially now with all the monsters running around, this is not like. Guys, if Jello, the counter god, is saying Bruiser Luna's just not really it, come on, boys. You gotta cut me some slack. Okay, let's keep moving on, Joe. Right, which Iseria. Talk to us about
ML1 build.
Interesting, guys. Sword of Judgment. So, Jello, should we go through it real fast? It's counter. Sword of Judgment for the double attacks. MLM. So,
yep.
Unreforged. Do you actually use it? Or just for fun?
I think I used it once in the tournament that we were in.
Yeah.
For the team tournament. She didn't perform. So.
Okay. Dude, he's just got some gear lying around for these fun builds, boys, and he busted it out. Was it the Shinkai Cup? Is that the one?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was in the team battle.
Nice. All right. They're asking why the chest isn't 90'd. Is it just because it's just a fun build? You didn't worry too much?
It's purple. I'm not going to reforge it. I don't reforge purples anymore.
Interesting. Guys, so this is how you know, right? I think a lot of y'all watching, be honest. You guys still reforge purples, right? Because until you hit a certain threshold, if you look, Jello has 2 purples reforged here. You have to in the beginning, but once you hit that certain threshold where you have only this amount of gear score or bust, Jello is there already, so he's not going to reforge anything else to that quality. All right. Conqueror Lilias. Jello, champ trophy, huh? Interesting.
Yeah. Stunning people's funny.
So is this more for fun? The effectiveness is obviously very nice too. And since you take so many turns, how do you feel about this compared to like Music Box, Crimson Seed? I don't know what else people are really... Border Coin, right? Is it more for fun or do you think it's actually...
I had her on Border Coin, and the thing is she's going to take multiple turns because this one's actually pretty bulky.
Yeah.
And so they're going to focus her down and they need her to, you know, stop some of the damage every now and then. And if you get stunned from it, then that kind of prevents a bit of chip damage onto her. So
okay. And do you actually notice the stuns a lot?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's very noticeable.
He is a S1 spammer. Jello, so the 259 speed. We can obviously make her faster, but you like this bulk. And is there a reason you chose like 259? Is that just kind of like the nice in-between where, you know, you'll be able to be fast enough, but also you can maintain a lot of bulk?
Yeah. And then there's the fact that people get very confused when they start outspeeding Lilias.
Yeah.
And they don't know what to do, it seems like.
But that's not a problem for you? If I guess, like, what are we worried about by not going first with Lilias? Because we have the immunity, right? So we're probably not going to get silenced necessarily for some things, like Sid maybe. What else? You haven't found any issues on going second with her? Because you're bulk?
Not so far anyway.
Yeah, because you're just so tanky, right? It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
okay.
Usually if they ban like Pera and Ran and then she's left on the table, if they don't take her like in the first pick, then I'll just take her in the later picks.
Okay, so yeah, you gotta watch out.
First pick for me.
Right, not first picks because he's got to watch out. Yeah, chat's making some good points like Para AOL, but you'll bust. You said you'll just pick her a little bit later or safer.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, I might try that champ trophy, guys. Okay, next up we got Milim, counter pen, very high defense, very high attack. Jello, talk to us about the Milim. Do we pick her pretty often?
That every now and then when people pick Landy or something that's in stealth, and we just need some kind of extinct to get them out, you know?
And I've seen so many builds on Milim, like just speed, lifesteal with the artifact. You like the counter pen? This is your preferred build?
Yeah, so far. Usually have to draft her with mitigation though, because I still think 10Ks they're like nearly 11Ks too squishy.
Okay.
But...
and are most of your drafts you try to include like one mitigation? Is that right?
Yeah. Usually I'll take like FCC or Payra.
Yeah.
But there's other mitigation knights that I have. So.
Sure. Okay. Next up, boys, AOL. Slower, but lots of ER. Jello, how often do we pick this terror?
I usually don't draft her.
Do you ban her at all or no? Like pre-ban?
Nope.
Just don't care, huh?
Don't really care.
Guys, doesn't use her, doesn't pre-ban her, he just deals with it. What's your how do you deal with her usually in your kind of draft?
The hand guy, Amelia, Delbit,
Hand guy melee designer a little bit. Okay.
Lilias sometimes.
She says Cilius?
Fire Lilias.
Oh, Fire Lilias. You're right. That's an old tech, boys. You just kind of skill 1 spam into her. And I believe, and combined with like Ravi, right? Strong skill 1 units.
Yeah, just strong skill 1 units. Like
Okay.
ADS, A Ravi, stuff like that.
Sure. All right. Next up is Pilis. This is one of my favorites, Jello. What do you think about her?
I think she's a very good unit. I haven't used her very often, but she's probably like, I want to say 3rd best knight in the game right now.
3rd best knight. And Jello, your build is actually insane, dude. Chat, this stat line, while even having a little bit of effectiveness and more than 100 ER, the speed is almost like mine on speed set, on counter set, excuse me. This is actually really, really nice. Probably not even your better gear, but just showing how stacked your account is, man. I like this a lot. If you guys can get, if you can get counter while maintaining these kind of stats, it's obviously just a win-win. Because his speed is still fine, especially for Jello. And he gets those extra S1s. I believe it's strip and provoke, yeah. No, I'm sorry, no strip on the S1, just on the skill 3, I think. Yeah, just extra provoke chances. Very nice, man. 3rd best knight, according to Jello. Jello, any thoughts on, are we going to see an Armin, green Armin?
You'll see it, but I don't think anyone should follow it.
Okay, we'll see that, guys. Stay tuned. We'll see that green Armin. Solitaria, this one, boys. Jello, this one, I think. Actually, you know what? I'll let you talk about her. Take the floor while I look at your stats.
One of my carries from last season.
Oh,
it was her.
Before the buffs?
Yeah. No, right after.
Right after the buffs. Okay, okay.
Yeah, because I really only played, I want to say, the last 2 weeks. Like actually pushing. But I didn't really decide that I was gonna push for Legend until like the last 3 days.
Did you end up locking it in?
Yeah.
Nice. All right, good for the YouTube title.
This one, she just carried me really hard.
So, and does she still continue to carry you hard?
Yeah.
Jello, talk to me about the lack of ER. I think there's 2 builds we see currently. There's some people that swear by like 150 plus ER, and then there's those that don't, obviously. But you don't have any issues so far with I guess you just draft a lot of cleansers. Is that what it is?
Yeah, I have cleansers, and then the other thing is I think the effectiveness build is still just miles better.
Okay, I think some people can try for both, but it's nice to see that you haven't found really a need for like the high ER. So this has still been working out just for you. It worked last season, still working for you now?
Yeah.
And on revenge
I
set,
think
dude.
Sean was the one that I ran into that he got abused by this recently.
Yeah, Sean hates her. Okay. That's why he was mauled. Okay. Let's keep going on. Closer Charles up next. Jello, at lifesteal Closer Charles was at 175 speed. Jello, what is this? Is this for fun? Is this a real thing?
I've drafted him a couple times.
Yeah.
He's just a lot of damage when they pick a very slow team.
I believe it. And
just chomps through things.
Yeah, so we made him lifesteal pen because we're Banshee Gaming. And you'll pick him occasionally, huh? I like that you adapted him. There's a lot of I think I fall in this category too, but let's say we are kind of slower players, play a lot of counter lifesteal, but then we'll have like our typical Kise. If you have a Closer Charles, they'll still be on the typical like fast build, right? But you adapted him. You adapted this Iseria. But this one probably less used than Summertime Iseria.
Yeah.
Okay. Still an interesting build. All right. Sid up next. Is he a contester? He is. Okay. Jello, talk to us about the Sid. I'm sure it's pretty basic, but I'll let you talk about him real fast.
Just a speed contester.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much. Missing a Manica, so he's on Talisman until I get one.
How often do you pick him?
Very rarely.
Do you find yourself sometimes you just let your opponent go first? Like you don't really care? Like you don't need to
there's times where I just don't care. Other times where you just like it's
force ban.
Just a very good pick.
Yeah,
it's just a force ban.
Okay.
So like if they pick Fire Handger or anything like that, I just slam this down and okay, well I have to ban this. So.
Yeah, Jello. One question: at 295, have you ever found your opponents like try to check you, and they at 295, I think these days, especially where you are at in Legend, most contesters aren't that afraid of this. Has that happened to you at all, or no? They still respect ban it?
Sometimes they respect ban it. There's other people who don't.
Yeah, that's kind of been my finding sometimes.
So it's very 50-50
Yeah.
with him.
All right, that's maybe why you don't pick him as often. So here we go. Next up, Tenebria counter build, of course. With eXJello. Is this usable? Do we use this in RTA?
Yeah.
Nice.
Every now and then I'll bring this out. I want to say about the same as Meru, just one out of like every 40 games or so.
Okay, so they kind of fulfill a similar role, right?
Yeah, like
Counter mage.
Pretty much just control the game, sleep something that's in stealth, something that's in the back line. And,
did you mean Fire Meru or 80 Meru?
Fire Meru.
Fire Meru. Yeah, the one we saw earlier, boys. Okay. Yeah, I like the build, obviously. It's got everything you kind of want. More of a debuffer, not like much damage at all, right? But strips, sleeps, control, and Jello. Say again, did you mention what where are you looking to bring her out?
Against like stealth units usually.
So kind of like
controls temple very well.
Yeah, kind of like that Fire Mare, like you mentioned, right? Against maybe Stenny Landies, things like that. Got it.
Yep.
Okay, so we have a lot of options for that, boys. All right, Jello. Next up, the Hwayoung boys. It is on counter Wait, Jello, we're missing a reforge on the boot and ring. Are we not using it right now?
Nope, she's a pre-ban, so.
Ungeared. Dang, I was looking forward to see like how crazy of one you could build. So you pre-banner.
Yeah, I pre-ban her, so there's no real point in having.
Sure, that makes sense. Well, what's your other pre-ban, by the way?
Sene.
Oh, that's right. You mentioned that earlier. So Hwayoung and Specter Tenebria. Got it. As a thing you play, that makes sense. This girl is really annoying to fight against, right? She's kind of busted. Okay, yeah. So we don't need to talk about her too often.
Unit's very, very broken.
Very broken, dude. All right, Jello, we got Rimuru up next. This is also a popular pre-ban, but for you, you opted for some others. Draco Plate. So it's a 2-2-2 build. A little bit on the slower end, but very bulky. Good enough damage. How often would you say you pick Rimuru?
Very, very often.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. And Jello,
I want to say 1 out of 2 games.
50% pick rate, chat.
Yeah, if they don't take it, I usually take it.
And Jello, the build. Talk to us about the build. The speed, you're okay with that speed because of what, his S2 CR push?
Yeah, the S2 CR push, it still cuts. Still works well with what's his name? Hand guy. It still works well with
the rest of your lineup.
Pretty much the rest of my lineup.
Yeah, because remember what he said, boys? Start looking at the speed tunings of his whole account if you want to start emulating these builds. The hand guy, the speed tune at 200. The rest he said 180, 190. Rimuru with the CR push. We'll kind of put it in line with the rest. So looks good. Mega tanky and Draco plate, huh? All right. Picks, guys. 50% pick rate. All right. Fairy Tail up next. On the cursed compass, Jello. 90 blue boots.
Yeah, 90 blue boots. That's my first pair of boots in the game. I'm never gonna sell them.
Let's look. I think we all have an item. I have an item like that too, dude. Green. I have a green reforge, man. But how often do you pick the F10?
Very, very rarely. I don't think I picked her at all last season.
Okay, yeah, it's just kind of hard to fit her right now. But if he needed to bust her out, boys, let's say his opponent really set themselves up, you have her ready, right? Here's the blue boot, by the way. Not bad, dude. Actually, yeah, I would keep those. Hey, I would keep those on too. All right. Holiday You Fiend. 1337. Lifesteal build, Jello.
This is also one of my favorite builds on this account.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's I usually draft her with
oh my god.
With FCC.
Yeah.
When people like pick Landy or same, like it's the same job as Fire Meru.
Yeah.
Right. She's won me games just like on her own when she's the last unit. So
I believe it. Plus 15.
Back up.
Yeah. Triple S. Boys, what I'm learning is don't pick Landy against Jello. He's got like 5 answers, so be careful. But Jello, you went double lifesteal. You're never dying, huh?
Yep.
Jesus. I like the build.
They'll bring her down, and then she'll just heal back to full, and then she'll have evasion again.
Okay, and so is there anything besides Landy where you bust her out? Or is that mainly the thing?
That's mainly it. Or multiple like stealth units and stuff like that. Because it's very hard to draft her into like, or pick her early. It's mostly a last pick.
Yeah.
I still draft her into Bazaar and stuff like that when people draft Bazaar.
Okay.
But she gets countered very easily. Like people will pick LRK, people will pick Belian and SSB and stuff like that, and she'll just be
So mainly last pick versus Landy's, and then she'll just carry. Jello, be honest with us. Are you gonna keep this CP like this forever? Did you even notice?
Absolutely.
Love it, dude.
That's why she still has a purple chest.
Yeah, we don't want to change that. He could probably make it better, boys. He wants that exact CP. Nice.
I want that exact CP.
All right. We mentioned Lilias earlier fighting some AOLs, and I think this artifact kind of ties into that, right? She's not going to be your main knight, so she'll be alongside another knight potentially. And is she only busted out when we fight AOLs?
Usually, if I had another Bastion of Hope, I'd probably put this on Bastion of Hope as well.
Okay.
But I think Sage Ball's using one, and then I have BBK using another.
Oh, all right. We'll see those two soon. Both anti-cleave tech, correct?
Yep.
Okay. A-Raz coming up. Jello, this guy kind of not seen as often nowadays. You ranked the knights earlier. Where do you think Raz falls on your Jello knight list?
I don't use them very often. I only use them for expos.
So way farther than like top 5? Probably not.
For me, yeah. I've seen other people use them to better success. So
yeah, but not for
I can't say he's a bad
Sure.
unit.
Yeah, we're talking about specifically about yours. Okay. Here we go. We just talked about the Sage Ball chat. Counter build. Bastion. And 200-ish speed. Let's go through the stats. Jello, talk to us about this. This is a unit where I would maybe say, potentially, if our goal was just counter-cleaving or anti-cleaving, we might be a little bit better on speed just so we can squeeze out more stats. But for you, how have you been liking this?
I draft them very rarely.
Very rarely?
Yeah.
But when he does come out, has this build worked pretty well?
Yeah. And then there's because usually I just choose to tank down instead of like just go anti-cleave like this.
Yeah.
So it's depending on the draft.
Jello, if we have time, I would love to see that. Chat, let me know if y'all want to see that too. How does Jello... He just says he tanks down. I think that's very difficult unless your gear is insane. But let's see if Jello can give us some quick tips on tanking, just out-tanking cleave if we have time at the end. So let's hustle along through here. Amelia up next. 219 speed, 223 effectors. By the way, Jello, I had some of my chatters say if you weren't like 250 plus, unusable. Any comments for that? For comments like that, Jello?
I think that's incorrect.
Yeah, to put it nicely, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's multiple ways to play Amelia.
Exactly.
So I can't say
exactly.
that's also incorrect. That being fast is bad. It really depends on how you're trying to play the unit.
Okay, so we're at like 240-ish ER on the Guardian Ice Crystal, which is maxed out, by the way. Did you foresee this artifact being great when she was on her run, or did you just really like Amelia?
Pretty much I really like Amelia.
Yeah, triple S.
She's not self-imprinted at the moment, so she should be about 250.
Oh yeah. Do you mind if I just for the
yeah, go ahead. You
just look at it real fast? So that's gonna be 250 plus the Guardian Ice Crystal 265. So do you use her as like a backup Kawerik cleanser?
Yeah, she's just another cleanser.
When mediators may be taken or banned out. Is he your first go-to though, as your primary like cleanse unit?
It's him, then Delibet, then Amelia.
Okay, so she'd be third string. All right. Yeah. Looks very good though. Still good speed, good bulk, and then 250, 265 ER on her own imprint. I'll set this back though for you, Jello, just so you don't forget. All right. Yeah. Crow. Where's Crow on the night list?
Hard to use right now.
Hard to use. I've seen a few people like Magic Chi kind of using him to some success, but for you, if I had to guess, so you said Pilis was number 3, right? FCC number 1 is number 2 Crozet, who we're about to look at?
Yep.
All right. FCC boys for Jello, Crozet number 2, Pilis number 3. Would Crow be somewhere near 4 or 5 or nah?
Yeah, I would say that because he's very good into like LHC and...
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Next up, we got Flurry. He mentioned he used to run a 299 one, but nowadays, Jello, any play?
Expo Slave.
Expo only, damn. Well, it's kind of a good thing, guys. I'm honestly glad to not see as much Flurries. If y'all didn't go through that time phase where she went through multiple periods of being like crazy, I think it's okay that she's kind of taking a backseat, but maybe she'll come back one day. T-Surin? Jello, another unit that's kind of fallen off. What'd you say?
Yeah, very, very little play. She just there for World Boss.
Just World Boss boys. We're not really going to look through the units too much. Feels bad, but it is what it is. Here, though, we definitely know Jello uses this unit. Here we go. Troublemaker Crozet. Now, Jello, you're going to have to talk to us a little bit about the build, number 1. And 2, When do we bust them out? Is it a lot of players will use him as specifically like anti-aggro, anti-cleave? For you, is he more of a mainstay knight or also the same thing, more anti-cleave?
No, it's more of an anti-cleave, anti-aggro.
Okay.
Protect the queen kind of comps.
Exactly.
But he does his job amazingly well.
So the build is pretty standard, but I would say the speed though is a little bit. Is that okay for the speed tuning? Sometimes you want him maybe faster than DPS so he could potentially like cut through and then push up a unit, but 180 you're fine with?
Yeah. Usually he's being boosted up because they're like they'll AOE, and he'll get boosted up anyway.
Okay.
So I don't need him like to be too fast because even if they kill him, he's gonna come back and he's gonna boost. So.
All right. On counter set, dude. Oh my god. All right. Arby, Jello, this thing is only +6 and not even fully awakened. You just you don't care about this man.
I actually want to awaken him. I just don't have them in that set at the moment. This is a second Arby.
Where? Oh, this is your second Arby. Oh, did we look at the first one already? Or is it not?
No, you have not.
We haven't looked. Okay. Jello, so this might be the second Arby, so nothing to talk about here. Work in progress.
Work in progress, but it's one of those helmless ones where he'll just die to a breeze.
Wait, we just call it homeless one?
Helmless.
Oh, helmless.
His helm is level, yeah, his helm is level 55.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So I thought that was just kind of a placeholder. Boys, you saw, if you've been in my channel, we were trying that out for a little bit. Jello, you think that tech is still worth it?
Yeah.
The helmless build?
Just
so the thought process is you get killed usually by like a Ran, and then you get to go, you get to make sure you get some damage done, right? Right after the Ran. That's still the gist. Okay. All right, boys. Yeah, I thought Chad was saying Hobo Arby.
Hobo Arby.
Yeah. Jello, we got a +5, not fully awakened to Watcher Shuri. What is this for?
Gear holder.
Gear holder. All right. My man, dude. Guys, no cleaving here from Jello. All right. LHC. Jello, this unit has been just... I was talking before we went live, right? I think you were here. Just one of the best, like, probably we would say the most balanced, not super oppressive, but man, she has surprised a lot of us. How have you been feeling about her? And I see you're on Sigurds. You opted for Sigurds and not the lifesteal build.
Yeah, I didn't think my lifesteal gear was good enough.
Mm-hmm.
At least not the one with defense rolls on it.
You opted for Penset, too.
So, yep. This gear used to be on Delibet, and then I switched her and Delibet, and I think that was like the best switch I've done. Because they both work better on these sets than they did on their previous ones.
Oh, so Delibet also got changed. You said this and Delibet both got updated?
Yeah, they got swapped around. So this used to be on Delibet's gear, and then Delibet used to be on this gear.
Okay, so we'll see when Delibet comes up, but what does that mean for this build, Jello? Did she get... What was the change? What was it before?
It was almost the same stats. A slightly less crit damage, I think.
Okay.
But I think this one just works so much better because she takes the extra turn with S1, and it's just more damage.
The pen set is what you like.
Yeah.
All right, boys. So Sigurds, no, he didn't go... This is a Banshee main, and he actually opted for just going for crit, pen, and defense set. Jello, did this come from actual golem farming or world boss?
No, I golem farmed.
He golem farm, boys. Okay. I think lifesteal is great, and I'm just showing y'all that Jello's actually, he likes it. He went for the Sigurd Scythe route instead of actually getting lifesteal. All right, anything else to mention about her, Jello? How often do you use her?
Quite often. She'll be 100% crit once I get another imprint.
Oh, yeah, not even triple S. Okay.
Yeah,
very nice, man. Okay. Next up is Zahak. Is this more of a kind of a bruisery build? Emphasis on some bulk. Pen set, of course, with a nicely leveled glutton. We actually draft him here and there?
This was geared for the Shanghai Cup. That's pretty much it.
Oh, okay. Was it the team tourney too, or just for your solo run?
For the team tourney.
Got it. So not really seen too often in your normal, like, RTA climb?
No.
Yeah, all right. Here we go, though. This one, I think, Jello, if I had to guess... Do we use her, this one, pretty often?
Absolutely.
Jello, talk to me about the book. I guess, do we have another one or is this your main one?
That's my only one.
Jello, how, you don't need to say specifics. We actually forgot to go over this. How would you consider yourself free to play? Whale? Dolphin? Guppy? Where do you maybe fall in that category?
I'm probably a whale to most people.
Okay, and so did you kind of just you didn't really before this was buffed, right? It was kind of garbage. Just never had a chance to max it out.
No, I think I hit, I want to say 7 or 8 10As before I hit.
Oh, so just super unlucky. Yeah, that happens too, boys. Even if you're whaling, damn. Okay, but obviously when that group banner comes out, right, this week, are we gonna slot in Fairy Tail, try to get a few more copies?
Maybe. I still haven't decided what I need to do for it.
Okay.
I know that I need more Draco plates. I know that I need another Politis.
Oh, so you are just actually like, yeah, you're stacked full. You might not even have room for that, huh? Draco plate, Politis, and what do you think your third one's gonna be?
I still haven't figured that one out, so it maybe another
Fairy Tail.
Fairy Tail, but I have no need for any more 10As.
Yeah, you probably triple it, guys. Remember we saw his other 10s were actually being used as well. But Jello, so for the artifact, you think this is her best in slot, or for you at least?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Even if it's only +7.
Yeah.
Artifact's pretty good.
Guys, he's using at +18. He doesn't even have a super strong need to max it out. The fixed damage is, I guess, good enough for him. And so let's look at the build real fast. Yes. So Jello, this is very similar to my build, almost exact. I'm actually surprised, but the effect resist, this is kind of where I've noticed on your count, right? There's a few units, but a lot of your DPS, Solitaria in this one as well, you're not going for that high effect resist build, right?
No, I think crit chance is much better.
Okay.
Crit damage is much better on her than anything else.
I wonder, do you think
Jello build just doesn't do enough?
Sure. Do you think it's the reason you are liking this opposed to not the R is just we have a lot of Kawerik, you said Dilibet, and that Amelia. Do we always try to bring like a cleanser with her? And even T-Crows
usually
sometimes?
I'll take Amelia and stuff, yeah.
Okay.
One of those always go like that.
All right, boys. I like to see this. We're still kind of on the same build because people have been trying to get me in that ER, and it makes sense because when she gets debuffed, it's annoying. But all right, good to see Jello still rocking it. No ER. DN, recently buffed. Any is she like 4th string, 3rd string, or do you actually pick her pretty often?
I've tried to pick her a couple games already, and she's been banned almost every single time.
Really? So obviously the revenge hit is really nice, boys, on good bulk. Speed, it looks slow, but for Jello, that's par for the course. Speed tune exactly where his Kawerik is, right? For his attack up units. Effectors is pretty nice. And now with the double barrier, Jello, why do you think... Are people banning her because... why do you think they must ban her for you?
Usually because I'll pick her into like a Ravi and like LQC.
And they don't want to deal with that anti-crit.
They just don't want to deal with it, so
okay.
That's what ends up happening.
Jello, just a quick side question from our good friend Deity. Did you ever play Call of Duty?
I played for a bit.
Deity, is there a reason maybe he thought he ran into you? He used to play that a lot. All right, counter Landy, of course, boys. Jello +15. Bulky as heck. And Bloodstone. All right, Jello, talk to us about this Landy build.
I don't think it's usable anymore, to be honest with you. It's
really
like very rarely will I pick Landy.
It's just the what is it? The Hwayoungs, the Millums. What? Just too much damage flying out nowadays.
Yeah, it's just too many things to just one shot.
Okay, this was a build. What did you use her last season? Still?
Last season she was on Revenge.
Oh, dang. Okay. So this one you haven't drafted at all because it's just hard to run right now?
Yeah, pretty much. Millum just hurts.
Yeah. Guys, this was actually kind of similar to, I think, like Brother Stone's build. This was a very popular build of, I know Call was running something like this too, but Jello had the same thing. Not as usable, he says, unfortunately. But this unit, though, Jello has been hyping up, actually holding his symbol of unity, chat. Counter build, crit set, 2k almost 2k defense, good health. Jello, so this is a unit you use a lot, correct?
Yep, I can safely say she carried me last season to Legend.
Oh my god. So Jello, did you by chance catch the Kotick featuring Lunal review I did?
I think I saw parts of it. Yeah.
They both mentioned that D Lilibet sucks. Any thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, if that's their experience with her, then yeah.
What a gentleman.
But she reset way too many violets for me to say she's bad.
So is that the reason for the symbol? Green violet?
Yeah, green violet. She would reset them, and No more counters for you.
I will say, Jello, I also think with the symbol, right, and how good your gear is, their kind of contention was like a lot of times you just hold skills and her trade-off isn't as good. But with you, and especially with how tanky and slower you play, as that frenzy picks up, Jello, this thing is hitting super hard on the skill 1, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that might be the difference, boys. So, I love the
I think
build.
I've seen her hit like 8 to 10 Ks on her S1.
Sure. Jello, do you pick her only when you fight when your opponent has debuffs, or is she kind of like a staple no matter what?
Usually when they have debuffs, so or when they're trying to cleave and stuff like that, like they'll pick Ran. Then I usually pinch with Delibet and Rimuru.
Okay.
And so no matter what the Ran does, I'm gonna get something out of it.
Got it. And then versus any other heavy debuffers, you mentioned like AOL and stuff earlier, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Just works very well as a cleanse.
All right, boys. That's just the thing is for mainly Violet, the symbol.
Yep.
Because cleavers will anchor with him or something?
Yeah, they were to anchor with either that or a Ravi.
Yeah. Okay.
The symbol just hurts.
Got it. All right. Next up, Tywin on counter build. Jello, you got to just speak freely. Tywin, relic of the past, usable. What's the Jello take?
Relic of the past, but he's geared for Shanghai Cup.
Oh, so another kind of.
Yeah, but he was very fun to use during that, so can't really say much.
But more for fun. If you were pushing Legend, Jello, the end of the season, in the future, last 2 weeks, is he coming out for you or no? Of course, we can't tell.
If the situation arises, yes.
So maybe. But typically, you said relic of the past, right? All right. He's ready,
he's
boys.
not going to get ungeared. He's going to keep the gear that he has. So.
Okay, so effectiveness, bulky. Got it. Counter build. Just spamming some provokes and soul minus souls. Next up is Jacko, and with this already gear holding, tested her for fun. Counter build.
Gear holding.
Jelly, I guess you can just tell us real fast. How did the counter build pan out?
It didn't work.
I'm glad he tried it, but that's what I heard too. I think Red was telling me like people tried Bruiser Jacko. Jello it wasn't it, huh?
Nope, not it.
She has no defensive.
Not even gonna try to sell it. It's just not it.
It's not it. All right, good. Let's move on quickly. FCC, his #1 knight. No surprise here. Holy mama. On counter build, boys. 30, almost 32k health. Good defense. A little bit of ER, just cuz. A little bit of crit, just cuz. Meep, is this better than yours? Jello. Insane build. Anything we need to say about her? One of the best tanks. Are you worried about OpSig or anything like that?
Usually I ban OpSig.
If they counterpick, you'll just ban it?
Yeah, usually I just ban it. But there's been a couple times I just let the OpSig through.
Yeah, I feel like you can just live it.
They decide to go into a Ravi and then the a Ravi doesn't die. And then they'll try to go into this and then the FCC doesn't die.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I feel like you don't even need to ban it with this much bulk. But there's not really anything to say, guys. It's on counter. So those annoying out-of-turn provokes. And it's just got everything you'd want on a set. And the speed for you, Jello, perfect? 184 good enough?
184 is good enough.
Okay.
She could probably be slower and she'll still do her job.
Got it. Okay. Politis. Yes. ER build, boys. Although, Jello, not on crown. Is that for lack of crown or you like the violin?
I like violin.
Talk to us about that then, please.
So she was originally on crown.
Uh-huh.
And then recently I switched her to violin because I gave the crown to Arya. And then because she was on violin, I won quite a few games with her, so
what?
I can't. Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think that is? So you instead of the stuns, the extra strip, because her S2, you're right, removes what is it? Decreased buff durations. But you like the violin. Where does it see you winning matches compared to like a crown?
She'll be stripping like hand guy buffs. She'll be stripping the Amelia attack buff, and then like if they have an immunity or they have a barrier, they'll strip both off.
I might try this. Okay.
It's just very, very, very useful.
Yeah. So people in chat are also saying you're into hand guy. Okay. I like that because my second crown is only plus 15, so it's a little bit copium, but maybe I'll give this a shot. The counter build though, Jello, do you think the counter is just your style because obviously Banshee main, or do you think it's even better than comparable speed build that's on ER tanky?
I just like because
It's your style.
having the extra strip. Yeah, it's just another strip.
Yeah.
It's a strip and a stun.
Sure, it's obviously good because your stats are good enough to make it work. But okay, that makes sense. Very nice poly, boys. Okay.
Also
and then
very good into Riolet.
Yeah, and he said with this violent extra strip. Plus she has stun on S1. You said into Riolet?
Yeah. Because even if you mess with the Violin, you'll strip.
True.
In the evasion.
Yeah. Okay. Next up, Jello, we got the Pera. So this one is still fast. Your Lilias, you dropped the speed for lots of bulk. The Pera we're keeping mega fast on her own goblet. Anything to say about this girl?
Good unit.
Jello, quick question. With the immunity, have you found that kind of hurts versus Rimu?
Not really. It's actually saved me a couple times.
Interesting. So you don't mind proccing him early and then giving like his team immunity?
Nope. Usually it hasn't been an issue.
Okay, boys, he doesn't care. Jello doesn't give a damn. But anything else? So mega fast. Do you pick her pretty often as your mitigation plus attack up?
Yeah. If she's not taken early, I'd probably end up taking her. Like if they pick Cilius first.
Yeah.
Usually go like Pera hand guy or something like that.
Okay, I've seen a lot of maybe not necessarily slow Jello, but maybe more standardish to slow, kind of banning her out and opting not to deal with her. How do you feel about that? You like to instead, you don't mind dealing with her and then you like picking her yourself as well?
I don't mind dealing with her. A lot of people end up first picking this, and so you end up going like hand guy Rimuru into this. You take the attack buff from them. There's been times where I've stolen the escort buff too. So
yeah, Jello, they're mentioning, by the way, and they did this to me too, but you are a speedster, okay? Even if you prefer to play in the 180 to 200 speed range, you're faster than a lot of them, and you are a speed demon, my man. I hope you know that. YouTube's also going to be like, oh, well, he's not a slow player anymore. He has a 310 Pera. Well, it is what it is, guys. Okay. I do, Red. You're right. But I think I'm actually ungeared her just recently. All right. Crimson Armin, Jello. This one, she didn't make us in the top 3 Knights. She's holding a plus 15 Aureus, so I'm assuming, right? Read between the lines, not picked as often?
Yeah, definitely not. I think she dropped off pretty hard.
It's just hard to run her with all this, like, unbuffable and stuff running around, right? Strips, crazy shit. Okay. All right, then not much to say about Carmen, guys. Still pretty good tank, especially if you don't have some of the other meta Knights, but harder to run than previous seasons for sure. Boys, Jello said this is his favorite, or no, best geared unit, right, Jello?
Yeah, probably.
Here we go. Chat, check this out. Oh my god. All right, boys. You aren't killing this dang thing, man. Pen set, counter gear. Plus 30 proof. Almost 30,000 health. Jello, a lot of players call this cringe. I call this insane. Is it just a staple? She just wins you matches with this insane gear?
Yeah. There was that one game in the Shanghai Cup I shouldn't have won.
Was that the one versus Light? Or is that a different one?
No, this is the one against Rhyme.
Jello, if I wanted to include a clip, just to spice things up, I don't do this often. Usually I like to do because I'll just edit them raw, or just upload them raw almost. What clip would you like me to feature at the very start? Kind of just to show off your style.
I think Lights is funnier.
The Light clip? But what was the other one you mentioned? I'll look at both of them. What's this other one you were talking about with this Ravi?
It's against Rhyme. It's one of the Chinese players.
Rhyme? R-H-Y-M-E? Chat, remind me of that later. We'll probably try to get this video up tonight. Okay. But boys, insane. Jello, the speed, not an issue. You're just mega tanky. We just kind of dropped the match. She's gonna, if they even try to decide to touch her, she's hitting really hard, and then she gets that big S3 eventually.
Yep. I still have a couple gems to sort out, but that'll be next month instead of this month.
Yeah, so it's gonna get even better, you're saying. Are we thinking what, a little more defense or what?
She's gonna lose about 3 speed. She's gonna gain 14% more defense.
Guys, Jello, people have been, the trend has been lately, I think we all agree A-Ravi's insane, but a lot of people are like, A-Ravi's more manageable. I don't have a problem with her. Guys, come fight Jello's A-Ravi and come back to me and tell me if you think A-Ravi's still easy to deal with. This is insane. All right, anything else, Jello, you want to talk about this?
No, probably one of my favorite units right now.
Favorite and best geared. All right, love it. Oh, they're asking how do you deal with like getting controlled? I think it might be the same thing, boys. You know how I keep asking Jello, how does he deal with no ER? Just we have a lot of cleansers. You like having the Dilibet, the hand guy, the Amelia, right? You just have cleansers available for her.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because I think Pera will like just run laps around her and just hold her down. So he just has. It's not an issue for him, boys. All right. And if you get unlucky, you miss that stun, dude. If he 15%s you, this thing is countering and destroying. All right, Carrot. Honor Revenge set 2, par for the course for Jello boys. I mean, 4K attack.
Progress, but it still works.
Yeah, 4K attack, good bulk. It's on Revenge too, just because you know we get extra speed. Yeah. So work in progress. You mean you're just gonna reforge this? Maybe fix up a few stats, or is it mostly just the reforge?
Mostly just the reforge. I just don't have mats.
All right, boy, damn boys, with 2 missing reforges, it's gonna look even better. I like it. Okay. Next up is Green Charles. Banshee? What is this? Expo?
This is Hall of Trials.
Hall of Trials. Okay, yeah, I just noticed the artifact. All right, no need to talk about that. Hall of Trials. Up next, we got Ruele. Oh, okay, so not Revenge. We're on triple ER set just to get those extra stats. Jello, just a standard Ruele, right? You actually like the Idol's Cheer?
Yeah, I mean, don't draft her very often, to be honest with you.
You're bulky enough to make it work. Yeah.
It still works. Really not much to say about this unit.
Yeah, no problem. And we talked about it earlier, Jello. I think if you do draft her with like Ruele or something, or sorry, Violet, we talked about that a little bit earlier. Like this is super nice with him, right? Just cycle him faster. Okay. He says not really much to talk about. Doesn't draft her too often, but I think guys, she might be coming back a little bit more with just people wanting to get that revive ready. Here we go. We talked about the other Arby. We have the counter degen Arby. Not 0 speed. Dream Blade. How often do we pick this guy, Jello?
Every now and then into like against Cleave.
Yeah.
He becomes an issue at that speed because if they don't kill him, he still applies pressure.
Yeah, sure.
So I think he's very good at what he does.
Jello, once that helmless Arby is built up and ready to go, how you like him, is there still you're gonna pick? Where do you think the difference lies where you pick each one? Because they're both versus Cleave, right? One is it just if they have Ran, the other one if they don't have Ran.
It's if you have a high damage AOE, then the other one comes out.
The helmless.
If you don't, then yeah.
Okay.
If you don't,
Makes
then
sense.
this one would be used.
Chat likes the music that's playing. YouTube, you'll hear a different song because a lot of these will not be good for YouTube. But next up is General Purgus. Jello, is this?
He's just there just to be geared.
Just their gear holder, right? Another
Gear
relic
holder,
of the past.
and just in case they pick Politica, then this comes out. And
Okay, so in a blue moon, Politica tech, anti-Politica tech, Chad. All right, look at the stats then real fast. Okay, so Reese, Expo.
Expo Slave.
On the Confi, amazing Expo unit, but since this is a review, we won't talk about it too much. Judge Kise, Jello, on the Oath Key.
All right, this one I built because of Cody.
Mm-hmm. Who I think is in chat, maybe. Yep.
Yep, he's in chat.
And?
He asked me to build this, and I built it, and it actually won a couple games.
Okay.
I just didn't believe him, and I was proven wrong. So
yeah. But if you would say probably not, you wouldn't. She's not a comfort pick for you, but you built her and she worked even with your tankier playstyle. It kind of fit in seamlessly.
Yeah, it's just the reset's just too good.
All right, so 273 speed, or just mostly just for effectiveness, right? The reset. Okay, that's why you have the Oath Key. I mean, guys, why not, right? The Japan players love her. Jello uses her even as a tanky player. Fast players, I think, will like her too. Not bad. Okay. Jello, this one has been getting a lot of hype lately. Your build is obviously different, though. ER counter. Any RTA?
Yeah, so, I used to have him on a different build. I think BBK took a lot of his gear.
I would imagine if they both ER, yeah.
Working on rebuilding a second set, so.
So this is the ER glass cannon kind of build? Where would you like his ER to end up?
Like 130, 140.
Okay.
I would probably switch the Elia's knife into another Dust Devil.
Mm-hmm.
Once I get another one. So
Okay, we'll see the BBK coming up, boys. Up next, we got Rin. I know there's some people in chat. Marichi, this is a fan favorite from some players. Jello, and you have a plus 30 Celestine counter set. Thoughts on Rin? It's a monster, huh?
Yeah.
How good do you think the counter set is for her?
You get a lot of value out of the Celestine from it.
So the Celestine and her skill 1 is nice, right? Her skill 1 is actually pretty dang good.
It's a nice strip as well. So
okay, Jello, is she a mainstay or is it kind of when you want to show off and have fun? You said a monster.
No, I still draft her into my normal.
When do we bust her out? What are you looking for?
No Rimuru.
So no Rimu. Anything else? Just if you needed a Soul Weaver, she comes out?
Yeah.
Wow. Well, the build's obviously very nice, boys. ER. It's had a little effectiveness too to land those defense breaks and whatever else strips. And yeah, it's on counter, so it's going to be procking like crazy. Bonus heals too. Okay. Next up is Belian, and it's on injury, Jello.
Yep.
How often do we pick her? This is interesting.
This one I pick it into standard.
Right.
If I know it's gonna be a long game and injury is gonna be very valuable in there, and she's not pre-banned.
So Jello, you think that's more important for your overall draft than having one ready for like, because the counter set would be better versus aggro and cleave, right? Do you feel you need this is needed for fighting just like standard slow players, like just tanking up?
Yep. The only thing I don't like about this unit is that necklace. It's probably the worst piece I've ever reforged.
Chat, how is this? Do you have a worse reforged piece? I know I do. Yeah, but for Jello standard, though, it seems pretty bad. Wait, there's a second Belian Jello. And it's also plus... Oh my god, chat, good eyes, good eyes. Okay, we'll see that in a second. Next up is Eaton. Cue the Eaton jokes. Any play from you, Jello?
This is the boy.
Really?
Yeah,
counter set.
This boy is
anti-cleave?
He's anti-cleave, he's anti-aggro, and he's just good.
Anti-aggro, anti-cleave, just good. I haven't seen... Jello, you might be the only one I've seen like in a review that has him ready to go, like fully. So no copium, no MLM, Jello? Actually the real deal?
No, like if they ban I've seen people like pre-ban FCC and you need high mitigation.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything better than this.
Sure. But I think a lot of people just offer like T Crozet instead because they'll have some other trade-offs too. But Eaton, you like even more than T Crozet for that scenario?
Yeah, if you're just trying to protect a single unit, you put this out, you put that giant barrier on them, and then a passive escort is just best mitigation. So
okay, all right, I like it. Let's go. Last Rider Crow. We talked about Tywin Jello. He's raged. What is this?
MLM build.
What was the thought process?
I'll be honest.
Yeah. You debuff with something and then just go with a big cleave?
Yeah, so back when F10A was around, I would push things back with Basar, and then I would F10A, and then this would go, and then their team would get wiped. Yeah, with Portrait, and then the bonus rage damage? Sure, okay. But not usable much anymore, right? And even then, it was just for fun. Okay, just for fun, guys. Next up is Strays, or Straws. You said use him with the Pavel for the Banshee one-shot. Very nice rage gear, insane. Okay, not much to talk about there. Violet, lifesteal, immunity, anti-cleave mostly, 20,000 health on health boots, I'm assuming. This is a very nice Violet, man. Do you pick him pretty often versus cleave? Not just cleave. Sometimes just pick them into ice units. Into standard. Yeah. Okay. Jello, do you think the immunity is super important? Mainly for that anti-cleave, or just mainly for anti-cleave? Otherwise, I would have them on pen, right? Yeah. Okay. But you still think it's good to leave him on the immunity? Yep. Okay. All right. Very nice Violet build. Haste. Another. You have 230 idols. Cheers. This guy probably more niche pick for you.
if any?
Yeah, it doesn't come out very often.
Yeah, another relic of the past.
And the speed tuning got all messed up because of the plus 15, so he's no longer tuned with Crow. So it is what it is.
Okay. Yeah, the Crow tuning, just for people watching, Jello was like, you wanted him, what, to go after the Crow, correct?
Yeah.
So you take a lot of damage, Crow gets S3 before you heal, because obviously his S3 will heal and Crow will lose the damage. Okay, that was a thing of the past. Alright, so Jello, that's why I was trying to talk to you about the the injury. You have both, brother. What the heck, man?
Yeah,
So guys, he didn't have a maxed out, like, Archdemon artifact, but he was saying it was a whale, so I was like, okay, well, not as whaley as, you know, some other reviews. 2 plus 15 Belians, boys. This is the best case scenario. I would love to have, I have a cracked injury set too, but I opted for the counter set because that's kind of more, I felt it was a little more relevant to the overall draft. That's why I was asking him. But Jello, this build here, 2 Belians, anything you want to talk about with this?
this is straight up just anti-cleave.
Right.
This does a lot of damage.
Yeah. And you actually still went for speed boots. Have you thought about going like 0 speed and just going like full tank?
I think she still needs some speed.
Yeah. Even against anti-cleave?
Against cleave.
Okay.
Yeah. I think she still needs to take a turn. You can't just rely on the counter procs.
Sure. Which one do you think gets more play, Jello? In recent
This one.
This one? Yeah. All right. So guys, coming up with Jello, it's not plus 15 though. We talked about this is a unit that comes up a lot, boys. This is the new, not really new tech, but it's getting you know, it's you're hearing a lot about it. BBK. So we actually went for immunity instead of the full triple ER set, Jello. On Bastion, so it'll be comfortably above. Oh wait, Jello, do you have more than 2 Bastions? Where do we see
No,
the
I have only picked up 2.
Oh, and you just haven't. They're both at plus 15 though, right?
Yeah, and they're both at plus 15.
Okay, we're about 200 ER with the Bastion, and then just full damage, huh? How's this been working out for you?
This has been working out pretty well. The only thing that's needed on this is the crit, and I think it comes from the weapon once I can get a gem.
Yeah, Jello, what kind of... Are you a player that needs your units on 100?
Yes.
Okay, so it'll bother you, right? If you hit that 2% miss, it's like... Day is ruined.
Yeah, I was running my Ravi at 98 for a few days, and it bothered me.
Guys, that's a different thought process, right? I know like players like Call, even myself, I would say I'm okay. A lot of my units are like 95, 96, 97, 98, but you're trying to really get that 100. Is that more, do you think, for just like aesthetics? It just bothers when you crit? Because I think 98 is still great. All your units are like really good still.
No, I don't want to miss a kill over, you know, something that I could have fixed.
So for this, you think it's important for BBK especially, right? The 100 crit.
Yeah, for DPS units, I think it's very important.
Got it. All right. SSB up next. Jello. Bruiser SSB, lifesteal immunity. Attack very good. Bulk still pretty good. Very good in all things considered. And then crit damage. He's got everything he wants. Very nice lifesteal immunity build. How often would you pick her?
I don't draft her as often as I should, I think.
Yeah.
She's a very good unit.
Yes, she is, dude. I love this.
I don't put myself into a situation where she's, I guess, like, picked every game.
Sure. Okay. But she's ready. You're good. All right, Jello. This unit here. Counter on Guiding Light. Any thoughts on this unit? I had to pull her too, man, but, I'll go ahead. Take the floor.
I don't even know what to say about this unit. I've played a few games with her.
Yeah.
And I think there was one game where I drafted her and Iseria on the same team.
Uh-huh.
And my hand guy Rimuru just soloed the other team. It wasn't they
didn't even know. I was about to say, Jello, with your special Iseria build, maybe you could make something work with her, but still, just you haven't really nothing to talk about, huh?
Plan's just not good.
It's not it for not good. Well, not good in general, probably, but especially for bruisery counter players, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Spez. Jello. Not fully awakened. +5 Mola. But on a lifesteal build.
I don't draft them very often. Sometimes I just pick them just to have fun.
Okay.
But
What do you think about him overall? Not really your build or your style, just Spez in general.
He's a very niche pick, but people can make him work, so I think he's okay.
Okay. I mean, that's pretty
He's in a
accurate,
decent
Chet.
spot.
Yeah. All right. Up next, we got the Ran. Jello, is this for fun? Do you sometimes pivot ever?
Not really.
Just have him ready.
Yeah, just have him ready, just to have it ran.
Okay.
Maybe one day I'll decide to seed on cleave or something.
I feel like you could pull off like a crazy pivot because you're kind of solidifying yourself as like the counter guy. If because although your Iseria is would you change up like your Iseria? You'd make the place all around that just for fun cleaving? Because your other units are still like your bruiser build.
If I were to do it, I would probably lower the speed a bit, and I would only like pivot into someone who's trying to play slow as well.
Yeah, makes sense.
And then just play like a slower speed cleave.
Okay. Jello, quick thoughts on Elena. Counter build.
She's all right.
ER or yeah, counter ER. In terms of anti-cleave options, right? Is she mainly anti-cleave?
Yeah, mostly anti-cleaves. I think she's a very good unit overall, though.
How often would you say you pick her?
Not too often, I think.
So even in cleave, like you're reaching for other stuff first, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Next up, Charlotte. We're probably gonna pick up the pace here, boys. The Charlotte, the gear is very nice. That bulk is good. No wasted crit, but Jello, how often do you pick this girl? I'm curious to hear. Also, portrait.
Not very often either.
Saying, is it because
I got my Charlotte very late? I didn't even play her when it was her season. So.
Oh, the stats are really good though. Yeah, so you kind of just missed the train on it, and it is what it is. So, not picked very often at all.
Nope.
Okay, that's a shame.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. Roana, nothing to say about this, right, Jello? Counter build. Stella still though. Just annoying. You bust her out when there's Solitaria or SSB, whatever, right? Belian sometimes.
Yeah. This unit is why we get to Frenzy 9. Either they have it or I have it, and then just we get to Frenzy 9. I hate this unit.
Jello, how often do you go to Frenzy 9? More than most? More than most of y'all watch. Alright. What about the music, chat? Alright, LQC. This one I feel like with everyone getting Kawerik now, right? Everyone's picking her. Jello, how often do you pick her? Let's show the stats.
I think I downgraded her gear a bit. So I haven't picked her very often. But she's still very good.
So it's the 222 Hellcutter, yeah. Alright. So not as often, but he still likes her. She's ready to go if he needs her. Rem. Okay, I think this might be the tankiest Rem I've seen. The attack, obviously we sacked a little bit of attack. Maybe a little bit of crit damage too, but Mega Bulk, which I think is the way to go, boys. If I had an option to, I would drop a little offense for more defense and health. Just because it's usually more important that she survives than getting like a cheese kill off a lucky counter or whatever. But Jello, any extra thoughts on this RNG casino unit? Obviously, probably really good for you.
She's a good unit. I didn't really abuse her during the Remnant Violet days.
The Remnant days, yeah.
Yeah. Mainly just because I just don't like Rem. So.
Oh, Team Amelia, huh? You say?
Yep.
Yeah. So, but you still triple Esther. You still gave her some love. She's geared pretty well. Yeah. Wait, they're commenting on the arena neck, Jello.
I mean, arena neck.
Yeah. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Again, Amelia's better. So.
So you don't pick her that often in the anti-cleave?
Not
With like,
really.
Not really? Okay.
Not really.
That's surprising, boys. I'm actually pretty surprised. Okay. Sedum. What is this? Jello, just for fun, we're testing something out. Knowledge seed. What is this? Holy MLM.
Alright, well, I've actually used this before, which is really funny. And
yeah.
People just buy into it.
I've
had an ace to try to kill her before, and they would kill her first.
Yeah.
And then she just countered and just murdered the acid.
And then when she eventually dies, she gives your team like Gab or something.
Yeah.
Dude, imagine a Sedum. You see it like slow on the bar. I mean, do they even look, Jello? If I saw it slow on the bar, I'd be like, something's wrong. Maybe they thought it was naked. Yeah, that's really funny. Okay. Green Armin. You said you were gonna talk about this later when we got to it. Wait, what the? Jello, explain yourself. Yeah, explain yourself, please.
We're proccing her to stun. She's a stun bot.
Okay. I don't know, guys. I think I'm kind of speechless. It's that's a lot of Unity.
Yeah.
Why do you have so much? We got Unity. All that A13 farming.
Pretty much.
Actually, some of it's converted. A lot of it's converted. Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
That ring, it quad-rolled into flat HP, so I was like, what am I gonna do with this?
Yeah, let's throw it on Armin, baby.
If I had another Elbrus, she'd be on Elbrus, so.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Just full stun bot. Maybe she'll be ready soon, boys. All right, ML Ken. Are we nearing kind of the end here, Jello, of your units? There's a big dip off in CP.
I think it's pretty much it here.
Anything on martial arts, Ken, or no? Just gear holding, work in progress.
Bad unit. Gear holding.
Do you like him though as a unit overall, or he's just not good?
I just don't think he's good.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Jello. This is the end of the road for the units. Some of the stuff we saw today, I'm speechless, but in a good way. Anything do we have a chance to look at your maybe a quick draft in your RTA stuff?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. Anything else you want to mention though in terms of your units? Anything you want to tell people at Banshee Gaming? You do stream, by the way, guys. Of course, as always, it'll be in the links below. Make sure y'all check him out. Everyone here in Twitch knows him already, so I'm sure they've been by. I need to be there. Anything else, Jello, real fast on the unit stuff?
No, pretty much.
Banshee Gaming.
Just want to play what I want to play. I guess. Play my own style.
Oh, Jello. I think we talked about this before we went live. YouTube. Jello can go fast. You saw 310 Pera, right? 295 Sid. If he wanted to, he could play faster, but he likes this slower style. Believe it or not. A lot of people think it's out of a necessity, but Jello prefers this. So all y'all that feel the same, man, take comfort. We're kind of pushing this Banshee agenda, and I'm all for it, man. I'm all for it. All right. Call, Kawerik, and now Jello joining the ranks. So let's check out a quick RTA. Because, yeah, I think we're... Oh, actually, Jello, I didn't... The time passed fast, but let's go through this quick because this is already a long review. You had so many units. Real quick, Jello, your drafts look like... Oh, this guy's in the chat right now, by the way, but let's not... I'm not going to show his name for YouTube. Maybe let's pick one of these, Jello. All right. Take us through the draft real fast. We rely on this counter Mega 30k A Ravi. We talked about how he always picks the Rimu. Hand guy first pick. Bans, of course, are Hwa Steny. And then we have that just stun bot Solitaria. And by the way, guys, he mentioned the end gets banned out. So, Jello, it's pretty much all that we talked about when we were drafting. This is usually like more of your comfort style if they're not cleaving or something.
Yeah. Pretty much DN comes out just to stop some of the damage from LQC, so she doesn't want if she misses her crit, nothing's gonna happen.
All right.
But I think Solitaire just overtook this game against that Ruele.
Even with the was she high ER? Do you remember?
She was high ER. I think Frenzy 4 I started debuffing her.
Guys, Jello just when he gets to the frenzy, he's just gonna lock down. Get those ER higher if you fight Jello. All right. I think we'll wrap it up there for YouTube. Jello, if you have a few minutes though, I'd love to just maybe take a few chat questions and then maybe talk a little anime and other stuff because you're exactly my kind of guy I want to chat with. But YouTube, make sure you stop by the Twitch because we're gonna get an exclusive just fast chat. You guys are gonna miss out on that. But thank you so much for tuning in. Jello, anything? Check him out on stream. Jello, say bye to YouTube or anything else you want to mention. Do you do any videos?
No, I don't do any videos. But stop by my stream. I stream very random times. Usually it's after like 7 p.m. PST.
So make sure you hit him with a follow so you know when he's live. All right. Well, Jello, thank you again for joining us. Sorry.
All right. Thanks, YouTube.
Bye, guys. Hope you enjoyed.